Good evening, goeienaand. Good evening, family, friends, followers, fans, foes, stalkers, haters, observers, curious ones. Most of all, UIM family. Thank you so much for tuning in. Apologies for the delay. There was a meeting that I had to attend, and therefore I can only join you tonight. Please follow us here on the United Independent Movement page. My name is Fatima Abdool, and I'm the Vice President of the UIM. Now, just in case, because I always have these very interesting challenges, I live in a valley, so there's always a problem with connection. I couldn't figure out what the problem was, but then they told me it's because we live in a valley. So if the connection is a bit slow en julle sien ek hak so bietjie, dit is maar waar ek woon. Ek dink ek moet trek dat ek bietjie op 'n hoër vlak is. Goeienaand Johan Forrie. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everyone. Hi Zelda van Scotland. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It is a beautiful day. We've had rain, we had sunshine, we've had everything for the day, all the seasons almost in one day. We are becoming like Cape Town here in Johannesburg. So, we are in campaign mode, and the slogan of our campaign is jobs and justice. And, you know, it is so exciting. There's an apprehensiveness, daar is benoudheid, daar is opgewondenheid, daar is sommer baie gevoelens. Maar ek is so opgewonde oor die feit dat ons so 'n fenominale span is. Shahida Serfontein, baie welkom. So I would like to encourage you to get on board. Get on board, get involved there where you are in your community. Start rallying, start sharing our lives, the links, the videos. I don't know if you see, but there's phenomenal, powerful and strong videos of our President Neil de Beer, where he just gives us information in a few minutes. Hi Elaine, hi Karel. So tonight, this topic is very close to my heart. Part of the reason why the UIM is part of the multi-party charter is because we are really a party that came alive, that was born out of the necessity to oust the current government. Now, let me just share something. In Parliament, there are 400 seats. Of the 400 seats, 230 belongs to the African national clans. And because they sit on the majority of seats, everything that they want to pass gets passed. So it is in our interest. Good evening, my president. Thank you so much. We were just in a meeting a few minutes ago. And once again, my president showed van watter staal hy gemaak is. Thank you so much for joining. So out of that 230 seats, all we need to do as South Africans, this is my calculation, is to see to it that at least 33 seats is removed from them. Out of the 400 seats, 230 belongs to the African national clans. All we need to do is take 33 seats away from them. Just up. Now, one of the seats that I really want to remove this person from her seat, and that is the Minister of Social Development. Not because I don't like her personally, good evening Yusuf, but because of her absolute incompetence. Right? Social development is something very close to my heart because it has to do with the bread and butter issues of our community. It has to do with our children. It has to do with the elderly, women, vulnerable people. And this is the department that is, according to me, most incompetent. Why? There's a few things. And while I mention these things, I will also try to give a solution, and you are most welcome to join us. Okay? Ek wil nie klink soos 'n juffrou nie, but this is what I want to share with you. How, just help me think, help me figure out, how is it possible that 75,000 senior citizens who have already been deceased, in other words, there is a death certificate issued for that person, and yet for the past 3 years, that person has received the SASSA, which amounts to 140 million rand. People, it means 140 million rand went somewhere and no one can account for it, under the watch. And by the way, this is the lady who blames apartheid for everything. Alles. Come on, let's see how much apartheid has to do with all her incompetence, right? Because there's no other reason that she ever gives for her incompetence. Apartheid is lang al dood. Anyway, then there is also the SASSA payouts. Have you noticed? Elke tweede maand, vir elke maand, dan moet ons ou mense wag vir hulle payouts. Dan moet ons se kinders wag for the children's grant. Oh, by the way, I saw now the other one, number one, suddenly there's now a new children's grant that they are starting to pay out. Guys, let me tell you something. A lot of beautiful things will come your way in the next 6 months because they want your vote. Use it. Gebruik alles wat hulle vir julle gee en dan stem julle nog steeds vir die UIM. Right. So, why are the payouts being delayed? Each time, I think it gives them time to steal even more. I don't know. I'm just saying. Now, here's the thing that dryf my die mure in. Now they're talking about a cashless system. Mense, guys, we are talking about people that are benefiting, that are living in rural areas. Gogos that are still walking around, picking up plastic bottles and tins to sell, to make a living. How is that gogo going to function without cash? She just knows cash. And this person now wants to introduce a cashless system. Methinks more stealing will be happening because then they think people will not be able to trace it. That's just my opinion, man. Let's just correct something. And we've issued a statement. Our president has already spoken about it. But let me just reiterate it. The social grants being paid out by this current government does not come from the African National Congress. They don't even have money to pay for themselves. They don't even have money to pay their staff. They were recently in a dispute with a company for 102 million rand, which they owed, which if they didn't pay, they would not be able to participate in the elections. And then, boom, miraculously, it is all solved. Methinks there's a slang in the grass. I'm just saying. Right? So please, let the people know. Dit is nie die ANC wat die mense hulle SASSA gelde gee nie. Die geld kom van jou as belastingbetaler se sak uit. Jou bydrae word gebruik om hierdie gelde uit te betaal aan die mense. Let I repeat in English. SASSA does not come from the African National Congress. It is monies that is paid in by the taxpayer, which is mostly the middle class people and the rich people that pay their taxes, and that money is being used for the SASSA payments. So don't be fooled by these fools into thinking that they are the ones that's paying. In fact, our statement clearly says that if they continue to be in government, eventually, because it's most inevitable, hoe meer jy steel, hoe minder geld is daar, hoe minder geld daar is, hoe minder gaan jy kan uitbetaal. So eventually all these monies that comes from us, which they have been borrowing, will get depleted and the SASSA grants will stop. It is a fact. Ons maak nie stories op nie, dit is net die reine waarheid. Reg? Oh, I see there's more family members that came on board. Hello Gita, hi Cherise, hallo Vanessa, Johanna, Tisha van Jaarsveld, baie welkom. Okay. Now here's something also very close to my heart. Under the leadership and guidance of the so-called premier of this province, Panjazali Sufi and this minister, they have stopped the grants or the funding to NPOs and NGOs, of which our elderly, our women, our children were benefiting, but it's now just it's just removed. I get plenty of WhatsApps from people that are struggling, hulle is by plekke, daar's die kos nie, daar's kakkerlakke, dit is vuil, etc., etc. It's because there is no funding. Now, how does that happen? Let's see. Oh, maybe it can happen that, for instance, the minister is involved in 100 million rand that just disappeared miraculously. Mysteriously, let me not say miraculously. Mysteriously, the money is gone. Dit word so hush gedoen. Niemand praat daaroor. This money was earmarked for GBV victims. GBV victims falls under social development. The minister cannot account for 100 million rand. Now, if you just count 140 million rand of people that are of money that's paid out to deceased people, 100 million rand that just disappeared. It's 240 million rand under the watch of Lindiwe Zulu, who keeps on blaming something that is a system that was eradicated by them, but it still gets blamed. Right? That money, which was earmarked to GBV victims, was supposed to, if I was the Minister of Social Development, I would have used the money for the following. Skills training and development. It's part of our No One Left Behind initiative of the UIM, where we want to get our people economically empowered, financially empowered, so that everyone in this country has a skill, everyone is working and contributing to the growth of this country. I would have done, that's the first thing that I would have done. Maybe the second thing. Maybe the first thing would have been counseling. Pay people to do proper counseling, because people that are GBV victims, they need a lot of counseling because their hearts and their minds and their psychological damage scars is deep, right? Then financial independence, I would have seen to that they get financially independent, because GBV people stay in a relationship because they think they have nowhere else to go. And also personal training, personal development, and also assist them with court cases, because there's still court cases pending, and sometimes they don't have funding to pay for these court cases. Those monies should have been earmarked for that, but it's gone. It is gone, right? Ek is geen nou baie nommers vir julle. We are 60 million, plus minus 60 million people in South Africa. Raai bietjie hoeveel maatskaplike werkers het ons? For 60 million people, there are 60,000 social workers. Just do the math. How many social workers are there for how many people? 60,000 social workers for 60 million people. There is a shortage, there is a vacancy for 9,000 social workers. How is that possible? Because there's almost more than 15,000 social workers that are unemployed. Does that make sense to you? There's 9,000 vakante poste. That's 15,000 mense wat nie werk het nie. Why do you think there's no work for those 9,000 vacancies? Maybe it has to do with the 140 million rand and 100 million rand that maybe disappeared. I don't know. I'm just talking to you. Julle moet myself besluit. So, for that reason, I feel this minister needs to step down. Social development really deserves someone who really cares about the people. They say in the next few years, by 2030, we must have trained 55,000 more social workers to serve our people. Why are there no funds to help train social workers? Huh? There are old age homes, there are children's homes, where there are people, the caregivers, that are so-called not qualified. They don't have matric, they didn't do the course, but they are doing the work. They've been doing the work for 15 years, 20 years. Why does this department not take those people that have been working, doing the job, pay for their training, don't give them the money, pay for the training at the different skill centers, so that more and more people that are working with our vulnerable people are actually skilled in what they are doing. So, Yella, I am just an actress with a passion for our people. If me, myself, and I, as just a plain and simple actress, can think of solutions like that, no, this person has got some kind of qualification and degrees and so on, but why is she not doing that? Ja, Tish Jaarsveld, BEE maak dat wit, hoorie sister, jy praat van wit brein in India. Selfs die swart Suid-Afrikaners kry nie werk nie, because BEE is not actually BEE. It is EEE, Elitist Economic Empowerment, because they don't really empower the blacks. There's lots of blacks, they are still poor. So yes, interesting, I've also jotted that down as one of my speaking points. It's the legislation, excuse me, the legislation in South Africa needs to change. Daar is nie 'n manier, ek hoor mense praat van ons moet dit doen, ons moet dit gaan verander, en if legislation does not change, people, ons kan maak wat ons wil, nothing is going to change. The legislation that has to do with triple BEE, with BEE, this new Employment Equity Act, where they are already, listen to me very, very, very carefully. This government is already sending out so-called inspectors to companies to find out, are you compliant to this new Employment Equity Act? What does that mean? Is die eienaar van hierdie maatskappy, is hy Suid-Afrikaans swart? Is the owner of this company, is he black? If the owner of this company is not black, and I'm not talking about colored black, hulle must no black no heeltemal gedefine, né? Your surname must be Mahlangu, Dube, whatever. If that is not the case, then they will either fine you, you will pay a certain amount, they will force you to put certain people in, or they will shut down your company. That's as far as they want to go. part of its legislation. It is no wet gemaak. So these act needs to be cancelled. The Employment Equity Act, BBE, or shall I say the Elite Employment Economic Empowerment, as well as the Bella Bill and the Hate Speech Bill. The Bella Bill, they want to just abuse our children. That is the, ek kan nie nog toekies omdraai nie. All they want to do is have access to our children and to do whatever they want with our children, and then take the rights from you as a parent. Then you can't open up your mouth. And the so-called hate speech, and this idiot said at some stage that we as South Africans should become like the Chinese and stop criticizing the government. Regtig. Okay. Now, let's talk about cleaning the house. This is a house. It's called the United Independent Movement. There is structure. We have a leader. His name is Neil de Beer. Let me just say this quickly, because I know some of them are here sometimes. To all those ones, all those people who have a tendency, and I will say it now and again, who have a tendency to criticize Neil de Beer because of his past, as if they don't have a past. But they do have a past, but their past is a secret. This man is sacrificing himself, has always fought for the improvement and the well-being of his fellow South Africans, was misled by the previous government and the current government, but he saw right through both of them, and he is still standing, still fighting for the nation. Now, if you are a racist, or you think you are better than your fellow South African, then this is not the party for you. Okay? And if you are going to continue to criticize Neil de Beer, have a ball. You know what? He's got the eye, he's got his eye on the ball, and he's moving forward. Or alternatively, you can buy lots and lots of cement. I actually have a friend, she works for a cement factory. I can ask her to give you a special so that you don't have to pay too much, but buy the cement and build lots of bridges and get over it. Get over it. Because Neil de Beer is moving forward. Now is the last ding wat ek doen. But in Parliament, we shall end up. I want to say the following. We that are already part of the UIM in terms of management structure, whether it is the administration wing, those are the people that's doing our flyers, our membership, etc., and also the activists and the politicians that's going out there in the street and so on. We are already practicing to be public servants. Now, a public servant is someone who serves and who is humble. If any of us, as the UIM, ek begin met my, if I in any way engage with you as a public member in a rude way, you have all the right to report such a person. Because we are now in election mode en daar is nie 'n manier hoe ons enige een gaan toelaat om ons te diskrediteer nie. Never ever. You call this number or you send a WhatsApp to this number. 064 507 9389. Let us know. Tell us. I was engaging with so-and-so and so on, and this person was rude to me, spoke to me in a very rude way, because we need to be accountable. We need to be respectful. Every person in the UIM is important. There is no one who is more important than anyone. Ten slotte, alles wat mooi is, alles wat geseënd is, alles wat in God se wil is, bid ek oor julle almal toe. You are simply the best. And there is no way that we will lose in terms of our integrity, because we are a party that remains in truth. We are a party that will continue to keep everyone around us accountable. There's a lot of other small parties like us who want to go out there guns blazing, trying to discredit us. My fellow colleagues and fellow campaigners, don't lose heart. Just keep focused. Just keep your eye on the ball. May God richly bless you. You are simply the best.